Welcome to the Labor and Employment Podcast Series. This podcast will address sexual harassment by Schaun Henry, attorney at law. Mr. Henry is a member of the Labor and Employment, Litigation, Privacy and Data Security, and Transportation, Distribution and Logistics groups at McNees.
Sexual harassment has been an issue that has pervaded the media in recent days. People look at this today and consider whether or not these issues are new. They certainly are not. We recall Tailhook, we recall Meritorious Savings Bank v. Vincent in 1987. Looking at these issues, it becomes obvious that sexual harassment has been with us for quite a long time. There's an old Eagles song, The Kings of Hollywood. In that song, he literally says, "Honey, if you want this job, you've got to come see me." In scenarios like that, it's pretty clear that everyone knew for some time about the scenarios that were going on in the workplace. We still have an obligation to address these concerns. And today, the way that we do those things is through the real-time defense of an investigation. Investigations are extremely important for employers and must be appropriately conducted in order to avoid extreme liability down the road. When we hear about a complaint, one of the things that people want to do is stick their heads in the sand. That can't be your response. You must meet those issues head on. How do you conduct the investigation and how do you get it done? Do you get people in from the outside? Do you use an internal individual? These are all questions you must answer for yourself. One of the considerations as to whether or not an investigation can be internal is whether or not there is a trusted individual who can conduct that investigation without allowing his own personal or her own personal feelings to enter into the fray. As we go through this, I want you to understand that using an outside investigator is not a negative for you. The investigation will be a real-time defense, meaning that if you are faced with a complaint, the investigation will be something that will come to the fore. When doing an investigation, the very first thing you should do is interview the victim thoroughly. In interviewing the victim, you want to appear to be empathetic, but not necessarily sympathetic to what's going on with that victim's complaints. The next thing you would wish to do is make an effort to then identify the alleged harasser. Once that individual has been identified, you will speak with that individual. From both perspectives, we will get a listing of anyone who might have been potentially a witness in these matters. When we've done that, we would go in, interview the witnesses, and keep the information at the most basic level possible. If we're able to do that, we can then go back and address concerns, for example, regarding inconsistencies in stories between individuals. Doing these things will allow us to get a better picture of what has occurred with respect to the harassment complaint. We are hearing complaints here at the firm about issues that occurred in the 1970s at this point. You can expect that this is going to be a factor that we'll have to address over time. Once you've learned the facts of your complaint, you should then make a decision. In every instance, it is not required that you terminate the individual, even if harassment has occurred. Your responsibility is to take action that is reasonably calculated to stop the harassment. If that is a written warning, if that is a verbal warning, or whether or not it's a termination is going to depend on the individual and the seriousness of the allegations involved. If I leave you with one thing, it's the idea that you will not stick your head in the sand and simply turn away from a complaint. Doing so puts you at extreme risk for liability. The investigation is your real-time defense. Take it seriously. For more on this topic, see the information on the following screen.